Right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We begin with the name of Allah, the most merciful. And thank you everybody for joining the session. And this is our weekly session on every Sunday at 8 p.m. Pakistan time, which is +5 GMT. Thank you very much for joining. Today, this is SDGs for Digital Pakistan. I think all of you know about Digital Pakistan. It's our humble effort. And we are a team of very meaningful people. And they're here to pay their part for the betterment of the country. Very briefly, I would like to take a start with the humble submission that SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, is a global agenda. I think in 2030, this is my understanding, you may disagree with me, that in 2030, world will be divided into two parts. One is those countries which took SDGs very seriously and tried their best to achieve the targets, tried their best to help their people in different domains and targets. And the second part of the countries will be those who did not achieve it. Not only they didn't achieve it, rather they didn't make the sincere efforts to achieve it. This is very important. So I think it's we are now getting time critical. Only today I was just going through a study which says that every country should take into account the targets, the databases, the dashboards, engagement of the communities, who is doing what, and what is the country's response. This is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, SDGs are no more one organizational issue. This is our shared responsibility, this is our joint responsibility. It is the responsibility of universities, responsibilities of community, responsibilities of global, I must say, the presence of Kurt and Bill in this fora is their seriousness, where they want to help us, they want to educate us on global agenda on all these issues. So it's something very serious, right? So up till now, we have been discussing SDG 1 to 17, but as all of you know that SDG-13 has also come, which is again something dealing with the space, which says space for all. And as things are moving very fast, I think we need to understand that as climate change, the space is also becoming an opportunity for us, at the same time, a danger point for us, right? For the last 50 years or plus 50 years, we have been sending a lot of stuff to the space. Now it's time to understand that this stuff may come back to us. Now, how we are planning it, how we are trying to be the part of the global initiatives, which are all these things. So it's a big challenge. And as my mentor, Mr. Naveed Zafar, listening to me, always says that कोई भी बड़ा ताला होता है, चाबी छोटी होती है उसकी, ठीक है? हमें वो चाबी तलाश करनी है, वो चाबी हमें सबको मिलकर तलाश करनी है। किसी एक शख्स के करने से, एक इदारे के करने से, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करने से मसला हल नहीं होगा। ये बहुत बड़ा मसला है। अभी मैं कल ही कराची से वापस आया हूँ, कराची की टीम भी मौजूद है। हम सब काम कर रहे हैं, सब एफर्ट्स कर रहे हैं। ये कहना गलत होगा कि कोई एफर्ट नहीं कर रहा, बहुत लोग बहुत ज़्यादा एफर्ट कर रहे हैं। ज़रूरत इस अमर की है कि उन एफर्ट्स को कंसोलिडेट किया जाए, उनमें सिनर्जीज पैदा की जाएं, उनमें लिंकेजेस पैदा किए जाएं, उनके गैप्स को ख़त्म किया जाए, क्योंकि हमारा मुकाबला किसी से नहीं, किसी को हरा कर जीतना कोई जीत नहीं होती। सबको साथ लेके चलें। हम सब की जीत ही इस मुल्क की जीत होगी, हम सब की हार ही इस मुल्क की हार होगी। हमें सबको लेके चलना है इसके अंदर। एक गांव में बैठा हुआ बच्चा भी हमारा टारगेट है, जो तालीम से उशनास नहीं है। एक बड़े शहर में बैठा हुआ किसी टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनी का सीईओ भी हमारा टारगेट है कि उसको भी अपने साथ शामिल किया जाए। ये तमाम एफर्ट करने के लिए मैं मशकूर हूँ कराची से लेकर स्कर्दू, गिलगित, चतराल तक की तमाम टीमों का, जो हमारे साथ काम कर रहे हैं। आज का जो फॉर्मेट है वो फॉर्मेट के मुताबिक जिन लोगों ने अपनी स्पीकर्स ग्रुप के अंदर एग्रीमेंट शो किया है कि वो इस पे बात करेंगे, मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि उनमें जो लोग नज़र आ रहे हैं मुझे, मैं उनको इनवाइट करूं वन बाय वन। लेकिन अगर आपने पहले जाना हो या कोई आपकी इमरजेंसी हो, काम हो आपको, तो आप काइंडली अपना हाथ रेज कर दें, तो यू विल बी द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर। ठीक है, इसमें कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल नहीं होता। वो जो स्पीकर ग्रुप में हम शो करते हैं कि जी ये लोग इस तरह बोलेंगे, तो वो एक किस्म का बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है। उसमें जो भी हमें कहते हैं हम एडजस्ट कर लेते हैं। लेकिन ज़ाहिर एक लंबा सेशन होगा ये, तो मेरी ख्वाहिश होगी इसके अंदर कि जिस ऑर्डर के अंदर हमने लोगों को रखा है, उसी ऑर्डर के अंदर हम लोगों को वन बाय वन बुलाएं, अगर वो आते रहे। लेकिन अगर आप आउट ऑफ सीक्वेंस बोलना चाहते हैं, पहले बोलना चाहते हैं, लेट बोलना चाहते हैं, लेट का तो कोई मसला नहीं है, जब तक इंशाल्लाह आखिरी स्पीकर रहेगा हम मौजूद रहेंगे सारे इसके अंदर। लेकिन अगर आप पहले बोलना चाहते हैं तो दैट विल बी एक्सीलेंट। सो विद ऑल दीज ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स, I would like to invite Mr. Naveed Zafar. He's a retired Lieutenant Colonel and doing something very amazing for digital Pakistan, for creating the synergies into all these things. Over to you, Colonel Zafar Sahab. Thank you very much.
Sir, grateful for your kind introduction. SDG के बारे में जो awareness digital Pakistan ने create की within Pakistan, that is commendable. And it was done since its inception. That was done in 2015. So 23rd is the target date, and we are almost in the mid of it. But unfortunately, if we see our performance at the international level, it is not at par with many even smaller countries. And there are two reasons for that. One, that whatever we do in isolation, in silos, and most of things are not being documented the way they should happen. So that is one big problem that we are facing. But nevertheless, the efforts are on, and the best part is that Digital Pakistan has targeted the universities, and that is a very good sign, because if people at the right age starts understanding the importance of these sustainable development goals. Recently, 18th has also been added that pertains to space, the danger from the space. And we must now establish a functional system, maybe at one district level, and that must include all the facets of the SDGs. And if we can perfect them in our local culture, then that can be scaled up to the national level. So efforts are being made in this regard, and the concept of DICs, District Incubation Center, which have the roots in the rural areas also. So we feel that with the participation of different people, and one very good model at Hafizabad, that is emerging very fast, and that is also attached with the businesses which are very local in their character, and anything which is emerging from the culture, it has more chances to survive and sustain. And that factor has been kept, and a very good team led by Mr. Azam, they are leading that initiative, and that is covering almost all these spheres, starting from the education, health, even the water, the gender equality, the prosperity. Many drives are there, and inshallah that is going to be a role model for the rest of the Pakistan also. And I will invite everyone who is present in there that they must support this initiative at one district level at least, so we can have a role model which is available and which can be benchmarked for the scaling up of the project. Thank you very much, sir.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका। अब मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा डॉक्टर आसिफ नवीद साहब को, राजा साहब को, कि वो अपने ख्याल का इज़हार फरमाएं। जिस तरह करण नवीद साहब ने फरमाया कि यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को इंगेज करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, ताकि हमारे जो फ्यूचर हमारे जो लीडर्स हैं वो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में पढ़ रहे हैं। अगर हम उनको फोकस करके साथ लेके चलेंगे, मेरा ख्याल है तो हमारा काम आसान हो जाएगा। ओवर टू यू डॉक्टर साहब, ओवर टू यू। डॉक्टर अनम्यूट कर लें, आप म्यूटेड है डॉक्टर, आप म्यूटेड है डॉक्टर, अनम्यूट कर लें अपने आप को।
Thank you very much, Honorable Jafri Saab, and Assalamu alaikum to everybody. I'm Dr. Asif Naveed Ranja, Chairman, Department of Social Work, the Islamic University of Bahawalpur. And I'm very thankful to Jafri Saab, who has invited me here in this today's program to discuss few things and important role of universities regarding sustainable development goals, and especially if we see the digital Pakistan and sustainable development goals. And I'm thankful to Naveed Zafar Saab that he mentioned the role of universities. First and very important role of universities regarding SDGs or regarding any other thing is research work. So Jafri Saab, he knows very well that Islamic University Bahawalpur is contributing a lot in every field. We do have more than 132 academic departments. So all these academic departments, they cover all these 17 or now 18 sustainable development goals. And I'm very happy to tell you people here that we have created a wall in the Islamic University of Bahawalpur, that is SDGs wall. So every student, when he enters in our auditorium, he can see all 17 sustainable development goals. So they try to ask about these goals and they try to work on these goals. And second most important thing at our university is that our university has got approval of Sustainable Development Goals Center at IUB. And beside this, Jafri Saab knows very well that we do have inter-universities consortium on climate change, sustainability, and conservation. And more than 60 Pakistani universities, they have signed that consortium, and many other private organizations, they are also part of that. So all these efforts are from Islamic University Bahawalpur side. And I have also witnessed role of many other universities regarding sustainable development goals. So the point is here that universities are going to aware the communities about the importance of these goals. And second thing, the universities are also working on need assessment and fact finding on these related to these sustainable development goals, which is very important. And I agree with Colonel Naveed Zafar Saab that we do have gaps, means to say if we are doing something, others they cannot see or they cannot read our work. So Islamic University Bahawalpur is going to develop a portal, online portal regarding sustainable development goals. But we are doing we will put all those things, even our PhD and MPhil research will be uploaded on that portal, so that everybody in Pakistan or everybody in any corner of the world, he can or she can read our research work on sustainable development goals. And other thing, but Islamic University Bahawalpur is doing that we are actually develop linkages with relevant industries. Like we are developing linkages with agriculture department, we are developing linkages with social welfare department regarding gender equality, and we have developed linkages with education sector so that we can work on quality education. And we are also working on sustainable development goal number 11, which is about sustainable cities and communities. And we did have a lot of trainings at our university regarding peacemaking and peace building among youth, because this is very important that we do have threats of radicalization and some other negative things. So we planned trainings for our students, and those training contents were very relevant to goal number 16. That was about critical thinking, what should be a good communication styles. So if I conclude my talk, I can say that our university at the moment is working on all these 17 sustainable development goals, because we do have 16 faculties, and all those faculties, they cover these sustainable development goals. And hopefully, inshallah, we are going to publish our work specifically on sustainable development goals, which will show our efforts and other departments of efforts which are being made in Bahawalpur division or South Punjab. And here I want to mention that in flood affected areas, our university has contributed more than 25 million rupee food packages for those families. And I think this covers sustainable development goal number 1 and 2. And we are continuing our work for those victim families, flood affected families. And this is also somehow relevant to the sustainable development goals. So we invite all friends who are in this group, and we invite all Jafri Saab's partner again, because I remember that Jafri Saab had a very good conference at the Islamic University of Bahawalpur, and they celebrated a day of social workers here. So today again, I would like to invite everybody to visit Islamic University Bahawalpur and our contribution towards implementation and working on sustainable development goals. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू राय साहब, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका। माशाल्लाह आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी बहुत अमेजिंग काम कर रही है, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी उस इलाके में है जो कि एक मार्जिनलाइज्ड इलाका है। तो जितने भी आपके गिर्द अजला हैं, मैं समझता हूँ 9 के करीब अजला है साउथ पंजाब के, जिनको बहुत शिद्दत से ज़रूरत है इन तमाम चीज़ों की। बहुत शुक्रिया, इंशाल्लाह बड़ी जल्दी आपके साथ राब्ता कायम करेंगे।
Inshallah, sir, I am ready.
Welcome,
welcome, sir. Welcome.
Mr. Kurt, can you hear me? Mr. Kurt. Mr. Kurt, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Kurt, please go ahead. Mr. Kurt, I would like you to kindly, I would request you to kindly speak on SDG-13, because you know SDG-13 is badly needed now, because SDG-13 talks about good governance, transparency, information, interfaith harmony, and taking these societies together to achieve these targets. Over to you, Kurt. Please go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing that we know is that this unity and diversity is so important. Without unity of all the SDGs, without using and applying all the SDGs, how can there be peace? How can there be unity? How can there be application for all? And we in the Peacemakers Circle and Network do this training of people in getting them to know about their expertise and diving deeper into using peaceful means at opening up their expertise even more. Because if you're not peaceful within your silo of SDG, then how can we be so effective? How can we be so efficient? It's like one of the very first things that everybody should learn in school is how to concentrate. But people, as far as I know, in this entire group that's on here that are academicians and been to school a lot and so on, I don't know if anybody in this group has ever been taught by a teacher how to concentrate. A simple little thing, a tool to use so that we focus the mind on a chosen goal. And most people have a short-sighted goal. We are not looking to future generations. We're trying to get by with just this generation. And Lord knows we have a lot to do in Pakistan because of the floods and the water situation and so on. But without a focus and a unity and diversity, we can't bring it about. And when we teach people about including their expertise with peace, we also teach people in the peacemaker circles how to become more of a leader and how your vision of peace can come about more impactfully. Because my vision of peace is peace in everything, everything with peace, not any iota without it. How do we accomplish it? First of all, let's say in area 1 of SDGs or 2, whichever your expertise is. But what is your vision for it to be fully alive? We usually think there cannot be a utopia. And therefore, we can't have a utopia if we don't have a vision of one. We can only work toward which we are looking forward to. We can only achieve greater. We started the Institute of Sports Psychology in Bombay in 1982 to train athletes and coaches to be peak performers. We now then switched it into not just athletes, but also to corporations and education and so on and so forth. So we started Success Systems International. And without being a peak performer, you cannot have full peace of mind because you know you're striving for some more. You have something to reach for, which is exactly what we need. Because one of the world scriptures says, a man without vision shall perish. And of course, he doesn't just mean man, it means human. So we get to be able to seek and we will find. When we have only a little bit of seeking, we can more easily find it. So if anybody would like to get in touch with me, I'll put my contact information in and information also about the Peacemaker Circles and Network. But I'm so excited for the work that the SDG Academy in Pakistan is doing. You're even reaching out to be able to get other areas like Africa to be able to get involved more and so on. It's beautiful because the more people work in their area and expand to the brothers and sisters in other areas, because, excuse me, boy, I didn't even welcome you with great respect and love. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mr. Kurt. Thank you. You always
Sorry.
speak from your heart, and I believe that you're very close to what we are trying to do in Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Sir,
Really?
sir,
जी, बोलिए।
I just want to make a request that I had worked on peace building and peacekeeping in Bhavalpur region. I had been a master trainer, so I just want to request contact of Kurt if after this program Jafri Saab provide me.
Okay. No problem. Mr.
can
Kurt
put my
will definitely
contact in
will
and-
stay in touch. Thank you. So kind of you. आमिर साहब, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? आमिर साहब, आमिर इकबाल साहब, आमिर साहब को मेरी आवाज आ रही है? दुबई से आमिर इकबाल साहब। ओके। एसडीजी एकेडमी सिंध, आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? एसडीजी एकेडमी सिंध, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
वालेकुम सर।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम। जिन्ना साहब का ताल्लुक जो है वो कराची के साथ है। ये हमारे सिंध के मैटर्स को देख रहे हैं। अभी हम 3 दिन से कराची में थे। अमेजिंग, मैं समझता हूँ एंगेजमेंट है इन तमाम लोगों की। ओवर टू जिन्ना साहब, प्लीज गो अहेड।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Good day to everyone. I would like to take a couple of minutes just to mention, the current status of SDGs in Pakistan, according to the UN report. The UN report of the 2022. It says, the overall rank of Pakistan is 125. But the sad part is only 2 of the goal, goal number 12 and 13, its report says, we have, actually, SDG achievement is the 2013 and 14, 12 and 13. But rest of the goals, they're all in a red zone. Maybe one or two, it's stagnating, but others are on the red zone. But this is very, very alarming because 2022 is almost over, and we have only 8 years left to finish the target. So, I just like to suggest to everyone, and the bill is there, and always follow bill about the education part. And I still going to say we must, focus on goal number 4. Of course, all others we have to complete, but the 4 is very, very important. If we complete the goal number 4, I'm sure it will solve a lot of our problem. And another thing, when Naveed Zafar Saab said, and then the Dr. Saab also, the second it, the university's role, the education part is very, very important. It's very, very. And Jafi Saab, your recent visit to Karachi, we, the 2-day session we had, we all focusing on the education part. We inviting the kid, we inviting the, school children to mention, what the SDGs about, and they should play their active role there. All the teachers, all the instructors, everyone, they should play important role for SDGs. So with this, I'd like to hand over to you, but just like to add one thing, we all should follow the SDGs report, and it will reflect, what's happening in Pakistan. And only 2 out of 17, we have completed. We have to complete 15. So it's a long way to go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jafi sir.
Thank you, Majid. Before I invite Mr. Bill Graham to talk on the education, which Mr. Jinnah has rightly pointed out, I think rep from university are here also. Actually, we'll have to pick the fault lines made in the last 50 years. What were those fault lines? Actually, our schools thought whatever they were supposed to educate the kids is to be taught in the colleges. Colleges thought that they will learn in the universities, and universities thought that they will learn in the open market. So it's a backlog for many years now. Now, it's time to fix now. I think Bill rightly said in his last week talk that we should start immediately something tangible, something measurable. So he has got a plan, and Bill, our entire SDG Academy is with you in that plan, and we can definitely discuss it with you. The plan is that we have to go at district level, right? So I think I spent a few days in Karachi, and I'm very excited that people from Karachi is ready to cooperate. And now I think I will request you to please unfold your plan so that I can engage the partners in Pakistan. It's very important. Without partners, nobody can help you. So SDG Academy will coordinate with you. We will become your point of contact in Pakistan, and we will engage partners, and then those partners will talk to you. Over to you, Bill Gates, please. Over to you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure here to be with you again today. This series I've been following and speaking at for more than a year is one of the best in the world, and I say that as the past vice chair of the NGO Committee for Education, Learning, and Literacy at the United Nations. The situation in Pakistan is a country in trouble. You are one of the poorest countries in the world. You have one of the greatest inequalities in the world. You have the second highest number of children in the world out of school. The population projections for the next 30 years indicate that the number of children out of school could grow by as much as 50% over the next 30 years. And Pakistan literally does not have the GDP, the income, to be able to afford to educate its entire population at a world standard. So the question is, what could be done about it? In this past week, we have the Emerging Technologies Conference group that this same group is organizing on Fridays. And I spoke a little bit about where emerging technologies are going with education that could offer a country like Pakistan the opportunity to close the education gap for the bulk of its population at relatively low cost, so that it would be possible to educate the entire population. And what I am proposing here is to do a pilot to demonstrate in Pakistan that it is possible for Pakistan to bring all its children up to a world-class level in the foundation skills that's in primary school, because primary school is where Pakistan is really failing. When you fail to even get a third of your population through primary school, they're already excluded from the rest of the education process. So if you fail at the primary level, you fail at the national level. So the idea here is to get a number of schools. Is it 10? Is it 20? Enough schools so that it would capture the attention and the imagination of your media and the entire population watching a grand experiment to demonstrate that remote underserved communities at relatively low cost could achieve the same level of education and foundation skills as the best schools in North America, Europe, and anywhere else in the world, and do it in a relatively short time. I'm talking about a year, 2 years, maximum 3 years, to demonstrate that this could be done in any school in Pakistan. Now, to do this, I'm sitting here outside of New York. Well, normally I'm in North Carolina right now, but normally I'm outside of New York, where I spend a lot of time at the United Nations. And so, you know, all I can do is try to share information, but to actually accomplish something on the ground, it will take a team in Pakistan of Pakistanis, because nobody from the outside is going to come and tell people this is what you need to do, this is how you can fix it. We can support it. I think we can rally the worldwide Pakistani diaspora, which is huge, and they're generally wealthy. They're mostly professionals, high-income professionals, and they're very active in the support. Near where I live, we have a leader of the diaspora of one of the largest Pakistani expatriate groups, who not too many months ago actually met with your prime minister to discuss how the diaspora can help. So I think we can pull those things together, but as I say, we need a team. And we need a team that is thinking so far out of the box that we do not base it on how anything has been done in education thus far. We need to go and say the goal is to educate every Pakistani so that by the end of primary school, they have fully mastered all of the foundation skills that are necessary for further education, but also have become independent learners. Independent learners means they do not look to teachers to be primarily responsible for their education, but rather they accept the primary responsibility. And they have the confidence, we have to give them the confidence that they have the ability to learn anything at any time. So that is what has to be done. And I think here, if Pakistan does this, Pakistan can establish a reputation as being one of the world leaders in raising its entire population and in the field of education, which would support Pakistan becoming one of the most successful developed countries. And we're not talking about 30 years. If your entire population, imagine here if every child in Pakistan was a striver and they had high expectations for themselves and they had a goal to turn themselves into a world-class professional, whether it be a scientist, doctor, data scientist, or a nurse or a carpenter, but world-class. And if every child in Pakistan had that goal right now, in 10 years, you would not be able to recognize the country. So the goal here is to be able to do the motivation, be able to give people the confidence that they can do this, and provide them the means so that they can grow their own education as high as they can imagine. Setting goals, not based on what you think you can do, but setting goals based on what's needed if you want Pakistan to become the country it could be. So as I mentioned here, it's all dependent on having the proper motivated and passionate team on the ground in Pakistan saying, we're going to do this. We don't care if we don't know how yet. We're going to do it anyway. And if you can put that together, you can do it. I have posted, and I'll repost it, my contact information in the chat. And we'll be working with Amar Jaffrey and Mohammed Ali Jinnah and others here to make this a reality. I totally believe, I've worked with a number of Pakistanis here in the United States who got their basic education in Pakistan. You have a small segment of your population that already gets world-class education. The problem is just to bring it available to everybody. So we can do this. We can do a pilot and a project. We have to make it big enough so that everybody across all of Pakistan is talking about it and dreaming of the Pakistan that could be if the education was fully achieved across Pakistan, and all the SDGs, which are dependent on the education, be achieved across all sections of Pakistan for all people. So thank you. I'll post again my contact information. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer if I can.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you very much. So just to have a gender balance, Amna, can you hear me? Amna Hassan, can you hear me? Amna को मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको? Amna, अच्छा चले जीशान साहब, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर जी, आवाज आ रही है सर
जी, प्लीज ओवर टू यू जीशान, प्लीज गो अहेड.
जी सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड अगेन जाफरी साहब, आपका शुक्रिया कि आप कराची आए. आपके साथ बड़ी अच्छी मीटिंग रही, सारी एक्सप्लोरेशन की और अपॉर्चुनिटीज को डिग आउट किया. नो डाउट इस वक्त आपने जैसे फरमाया अपनी मुख्तलिफ स्पीचेस में, जब आपने कराची में जो मुख्तलिफ प्रोग्राम्स अटेंड किए, कि इस वक्त जो SDGs की इम्पोर्टेंस है, गोल 17 के बाद गोल 18 जो ऐड हो गया है, स्पेस फॉर ऑल, ये सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. क्योंकि आने वाली फ्यूचर में जिसकी डोमिनेंस फ्यूचर पे स्पेस पे होगी, और इस बात में कहने में कोई दो राय नहीं, चाहे किसी को अच्छी या बुरी लगे, कि जो हमारा नेबर कंट्री है जिसका नाम C से शुरू होता है, वो आगे वर्ल्ड पावर बनने जा रहा है. और उसने मुख्तलिफ तरह से, चाहे उसके पास जो गेम्स हुए, उसने उसमें वेदर कंट्रोल करके आपको दिखा दिया, बारिश को उसने किस तरह फ्रीज किया और कहाँ तक उसने अपनी जो सुपरसोनिक और टेक्नोलॉजी में एडवांसमेंट की. और फिर वही बात जो अक्सर प्रोग्राम्स में रिपीट करता हूँ, कि चाइनीज़ फिलोसफर की वो बात बड़ी दिल को लगती है. हम तो इकबाल को याद करते हैं, लेकिन उनका जो चाइनीज़ फिलोसफर है, वो कैटेगोरिकली ये कहता था कि if you are planning for 1 year, then plant a corn. If you are planning for 10 years, plant a tree. And if you are planning for life, then educate people. तो फिर ये बात बिल वाली आ जाती है, जो बिल अभी कह रहा था कि एजुकेशन अगर हम इस लेवल की दें जिसमें क्वालिटी के प्लम्बर्स, क्वालिटी के नर्सेज, ड्राइवर्स और जो भी फील्ड स्टाफ है वो एजुकेटेड हो, वो इस वक्त मुल्क की रिक्वायरमेंट है. क्योंकि अगर हम अपनी इस वक्त पावर्टी को देखें, इन्फ्लेशन को देखें, अपने करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट को देखें, अपनी कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग को देखें, तो आप यकीन करें कि इस वक्त हर तीसरा दूसरा आदमी परेशान है. मैं कई वाइट कॉलर्स और ब्लू कॉलर्स लोगों को जानता हूं जिन्होंने बाकायदा कॉल करके कहा कि इस वक्त हमारा सर्वाइवल बहुत मुश्किल हो चुका है और हमें फोर्स किया जा रहा है कि हम कोई नेगेटिव वेज की तरफ जाएं, लेकिन दिल नहीं मानता. लेकिन सोसाइटी मजबूर कर रही है. जो इन्फ्लेशन, पावर्टी और जो कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग एक्सपेंसेस बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. आप तो लकी हैं जाफरी साहब कि आपने सोलर एनर्जी को इंस्टॉल किया हुआ, लेकिन अगर आप वो नेपरा की रेगुलेशन देख लें जिसमें वो ये फरमा रहा है कि जी 19 रुपए को कम करके 10 रुपए कर दिया जाएगा, और उसके अगेंस्ट वो थ्योरी क्या पेश कर रहे हैं, वो अगर आप देखें तो वो ये कहना चाह रहे हैं, मैं आपकी इजाज़त से उस बात को चंद अल्फाज में नरेट करूंगा। उन्होंने ये कहा है कि जी इस वक्त पूरे पाकिस्तान में 20,700 लोगों के पास नेट मीटरिंग की फैसिलिटी मौजूद है। मैं रिपीट कर देता हूँ, 20,700 people in Pakistan right now are using the net metering facility. We have the 220 billion million population all over the country. अच्छा, बात ये करते हैं, अब वो ये कह रहे हैं, उनका ये कहना है कि ये 20,700 जो नेट मीटरिंग के कंज्यूमर्स हैं वो 476 मेगावाट बिजली प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं। जाफरी साहब, ऐसा नहीं है। अगर आप गाड़ी खरीदते हैं, गाड़ी की स्पीड 200 है, तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप हमेशा उसको 200 पे चलाएंगे। आपकी जो सड़कें हैं कराची की, उसमें तो 25-30 की स्पीड पे भी आप गाड़ी नहीं चला सकते, सड़कें सारे टूटी हुई हैं। तो 476 मेगावाट का मतलब है, इसका 19% लें जो कि रियलिटी है, उसका मतलब है 90 मेगावाट, यानी 476 मेगावाट में से सिर्फ 90, और फिर 90 तो वैसे भी कराची का फेवरेट है, तो 90 मेगावाट आप बिजली प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं। बात दूसरी तरफ चली गई, खैर। तो और उनका ये कहना था कि ये जो 36 मिलियन जो सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं वो उसकी कॉस्ट पे कर रहे हैं, जो नेट मीटरिंग अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। ये ऐसा नहीं है, ये रियलिटी नहीं है। इसका अगर हम ग्लोबल प्रिंसिपल देख लें, इस वक्त अभी बिल भी मौजूद है। नेट मीटरिंग फैसिलिटी ये कहती है कि जिस रेट पर आपका डिस्को आपको यूनिट प्रोवाइड करेगा, परचेज भी आपसे उसी रेट पे करेगा। लेकिन यहाँ पे अवेयरनेस नहीं है। ये आज बिल और जो सारे वो जो कर्क है, उसने बड़ी अच्छी किताब लिखी हुई है। मैं तो आपसे कहूँगा उसकी किताब की भी पब्लिसिटी कीजिए, बड़ी अच्छी वो उसने बुक रखी, मैंने कोइंसिडेंटली उसको रीड किया। लेकिन खैर, बैक टू द टॉपिक, इस वक्त आप परचेज कर रहे हैं बिजली 55 रुपए यूनिट पे, और के इलेक्ट्रिक और डिस्कोज आपसे कह रहे हैं 19 रुपए। ये तो अनजस्टिस है जाफरी साहब, ये अनजस्टिस है। इससे आप अपनी, और फिर और मजे की बात यह है कि अगर आप इस वक्त वो रिपोर्ट देखें जो कि नेपरा ने जमा करवाई है एईडीबी को, उसमें ये कहा गया है कि जी आपके हर 2022 के बाद हर साल 470 या 480 मेगावाट की पेनिट्रेशन होगी नेट मीटरिंग की। ये सब ख्याली बातें हैं। आपके एग्जिस्टिंग को आप सस्टेन नहीं करने दे रहे, और आप आगे की बातें कर रहे हैं कि जी ऐसा होगा, सब्ज बाग दिखाना। गलत अप्रोच है। लोगों को, कंज्यूमर्स को फैसिलिटेट करना चाहिए। इस वक्त जिन्होंने भी अपनी कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट की, फिर अगर आप उसका एप्पल टू एप्पल कंपैरिजन करके देखें, मैं इस वक्त किसी को 2-3 नाम है, अगर आप दें इजाजत तो, क्योंकि ये आर्टिकल पब्लिश हुआ है न्यूज पे, कि मैं कोई गलत अपनी तरफ से रीड आउट नहीं कर रहा। उसमें यह है कि क्रेस्ट जो सोलर पावर से यूनिट जनरेट कर रहा है, वो उसको जो रेट दिया गया है वो 35 रुपीज 22 पैसा का दिया गया है। दूसरी तरफ बेस्ट ग्रीन जो कि सोलर पावर से यूनिट प्रोड्यूस कर रही है, आईपीपी, उसको 34.9 रुपीज का दिया गया है टैरिफ। अपोलो पावर को दिया गया है 33.5 रुपीज। और आखिर में बात खत्म करने से पहले कि कायदे आजम सोलर पार्क जो बिजली
जीशा साहब,
प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है,
थोड़ा सा
वो चार्ज,
जीशा साहब, हम थोड़ा सा हट रहे हैं इस टॉपिक से। हमें एसडीजीज पे रहना चाहिए। अगर आप
ये
एसडीजी से
एसडीजीज का
हमें
गोल्स
बात
है भी
करना,
नहीं है। ये
नहीं नहीं
एसडीजीज का गोल
सही है आपकी बात। ये गवर्नमेंट के काम है, वो अपने के देख लेंगे। हमारे टाइम का मसला भी होता है, तो इंशाल्लाह फिर
चलें।
आपसे बात
थैंक
होगी, करेंगे। राफिया साहब, आप मौजूद हैं यहाँ पे? राफिया साहब, सऊदी अरब से। अच्छा, ये इंटरेस्टिंग बात ये है कि इस वक्त जो रोबोटिक्स है ना, वो काफी काम कर रहा है। सॉरी, रोबोटिक्स में अब जो नया ट्रेंड आया है वो आया है नर्सिस का। तो मैंने अभी डाला था एक अपनी फेसबुक पे, जो रोबोट नर्स है। सॉरी, वो ये कोई और टेक ओवर करेगा? जस्ट जॉइन 2
ये
मिनट्स।
मैं नो वरी सर, थैंक यू सर। Right. We have Rafia Sultana with us from Riyadh. Can you hear us? Miss Rafia Sultana. Okay. Miss Amna Hassan. Can you hear us? Miss Amna?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yes. It's over to you, please.
Sir, I'm attending this online session for information purpose only. I'm not a speaker. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Thank you.
But Amna, you can share the role of Geography Department for sustainable development goals, because you people are doing some research work on sustainable development goals.
Yeah, Miss Amna, if you like to share, you can share with us. Yes, Jafisa, over to you.
सॉरी जी, अच्छा मैं आपसे बात कर रहा था कि मेडिकल साइंसेस के अंदर जो ये रोबोटिक नर्सेज है वो अब आ चुकी हैं, और उसमें वो 80% जो आपका हमें रूटीन का वो टेक ओवर कर लिया उन्होंने, और उन्होंने ये जो डिजीज काम है, ये जो बर्निंग के मरीज आते हैं उनको हैंडल करना, या एपिडेमिक्स के मरीजों को आना उनको हैंडल करना। अब आप खुद सोचें कि ये SDG-13 का एक टारगेट था कार्बन कि जो डील वर्क्स हैं उसको मशीन के जरिए किया जाएगा, उसमें वो AI को इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, डेटा एनालिटिक्स को इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। अब फिर पॉइंट वहीं जाता है, और मैं चाहूँगा कि इस पे डॉक्टर राजा साहब आप भाई ये बात करें कि अगर आज हम अपने स्टूडेंट्स को ये नहीं सिखाएंगे कि रोबोटिक्स क्या है, साइंसेस क्या है, तो फिर वो कर नहीं सकते काम आगे, जो बात समझ में आती है। और
जी बिल्कुल, जी 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 जाफरी साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बात की। अभी जाफरी साहब जिस इरा में हम रह रहे हैं, मेरा ख्याल है कि हमें इस तरफ जाने की जरूरत है, और स्पेशली जो आप बात कर रहे हैं, हमें अपनी जो इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड है, हम हर यूनिवर्सिटी में हमारी इंजीनियरिंग की पूरी फैकल्टीज मौजूद हैं। हमें एक तो अपना जो प्रोग्राम्स हैं उनको अपग्रेड करने की जरूरत है, दूसरी दुनिया के लेवल पे लाने की जरूरत है कि हम वो टेक्नोलॉजीज इंट्रोड्यूस करवा सकें, पहले तो यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे लैब्स के अंदर, और फिर उसके बाद हम अपने स्टूडेंट्स को सेंसिटाइज कर सकें, अपने यूथ को सेंसिटाइज कर सकें कि वो इस साइड पे आए। अगर इस वक्त हम इस तरफ तवज्जो नहीं देते तो फिर वक्त हमारे हाथ से निकल जाएगा, क्योंकि दुनिया इस वक्त जो है वो बहुत तेजी से बदल रही है। ये पिछले 20 साल जो हमने गुजारे हैं, इसमें जितनी रैपिड चेंजेस आई हैं पूरी दुनिया के अंदर, पाकिस्तान के लिए ये एक गोल्डन चांस है कि हम तो जाहिर है अभी अपने उन्हीं पुराने मसाइल में गिरे हुए थे, लेकिन हमारे लिए न्यू एवेन्यूज हैं, तो हम जंप इन कर सकते हैं कि हम अपनी उस बुरी पोजीशन से एक अच्छी पोजीशन की तरफ जंप करके हम न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी का साथ देके और डिजिटल वर्ल्ड जो है उसको साथ लेके चल सकते हैं। और जिस तरह आप देखें कि पूरे पाकिस्तान में अब करोड़ों लोग जो हैं वो मोबाइल का यूज करते हैं, और मोबाइल की हो न उन्हें बहुत अच्छी तरह है, चाहे वो लिटरेट हैं चाहे इलिटरेट हैं। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि अगर हम लोगों को थोड़ा सा इस साइड पे उनकी तवज्जो दिलवाना शुरू कर देंगे, और जो हमारे इदारे हैं गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे और सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस भी कुछ इस पे काम करना शुरू कर देंगी, तो यकीनन हम इस काबिल हो जाएंगे कि हम अपनी यूथ को इधर डाइवर्ट कर सकें। और आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बात की सर कि देयर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटीज इन दिस रिगार्ड, और डेफिनेटली हम अपना रोल अपनी जगह पे जरूर प्ले करेंगे, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ यूनिवर्सिटीज का एक और रोल भी है, दैट इज नीड असेसमेंट। और जो आपने बड़ी खूबसूरत बात की कि जी अब तो रोबोट्स जो हैं वो नर्सेज की जगह और बहुत सारी और चीजें हैं जो रिप्लेस हो गई हैं, तो हमें इन चीजों को सामने रखते हुए अपनी मैसेज को अवेयरनेस भी देनी चाहिए, और अपनी मैसेज को इसके लिए प्रिपेयर भी करना चाहिए, और अपने सिस्टम्स को भी इसके लिए प्रिपेयर कर लेना चाहिए कि हमें हर तरह से उस तरफ जब जाने की जरूरत है तो फिर ये ना हो कि जी ट्रेनिंग तो हम लोगों को दे लें और सारी चीजें कर लें, लेकिन उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जहाँ पे हमने करनी है वो सिस्टम ही मौजूद ना हो। तो हमें एट द सेम टाइम सिस्टम्स को भी डेवलप करना है, हमें करिकुलम पे भी काम करना है, हमें यूनिवर्सिटीज के अंदर उन डिग्री प्रोग्राम्स को लॉन्च करने पे भी काम करना है। और उसके बाद एक और बहुत जरूरी चीज ये है कि आम आदमी को भी इस पे अवेयरनेस देना जो है वो भी जरूरी होगा उसके साथ साथ, ताकि हम सबको जो है वो उस लाइन पे लेके चल सकें।
जी बहुत शुक्रिया। ये अपना याद साहब आपने गलबन हाथ रेस किया हुआ है, जरूर याद साहब आप काइंडली अपना तारुफ करें।
Ji, Assalamu alaikum ji. Zorair is
Good.
here. I'm the managing director for Schlumberger in Pakistan and Yemen.
Thank
So
you.
excellent discussion ji so far. I totally concur with the idea that have been presented so far, both from the audience here as well as by Bill and Kurt as well. So I just wanted to focus on a couple of things that are close to the oil and gas industry that I represent, which is basically the goals 6 and 7 primarily. And I think in Pakistan, it's an ideal opportunity for us to now look at energy as not a problem, but a solution. A lot of discussion has been happening in the current call as well about the solar electricity charges or the NEPRA's policies and everything else. That I think very clearly defines a very clear requirement for us to be working on the goal 17, which is about partnerships. At the end of the day, nothing can work in isolation. We cannot just go ahead and develop a policy that is solar focused or geothermal focused or oil and gas focused. At the end of the day, we will have to realize also that it's an energy transition. It's an energy mix that we have to go through. The current climate change challenges that we are seeing in Pakistan, they're here to stay. This hopefully will be a one-year event, but most of the predictions are calling it something which is sustained climate change that is happening in Pakistan now. So we have to ask ourselves going forward, are we going to continue to live in a world where we demonize the industry sources which are available, or are we going to look at being more responsible towards the energy sources that are available to us, use those energy sources to create opportunities for people so they can be well equipped to manage the world, which is 10 or 20 years from now, for example, clean of fossil fuels. I hear a lot of noise around the energy, in particular, the energy mix and the dynamics as well. I was recently sponsoring a goal of girl graduate students under the program of USAID, who were basically visiting us under their auspices to look at the energy companies and the service companies. And one of the questions that is constantly asked by a company like myself is, why oil and gas for Pakistan, for example? And my answer to that question is, what if we don't have oil and gas? In the absence of an answer, it is not just a switch that you can turn on and off. There has to be a transition. It is up to us to make that transition as responsible as we can. And this is where we need to make sure that we are partnering with all the regulatory bodies to come out with a proposal that is not just for the next 2 years or next 1 year or the import cycle of the current winters. It needs to be focused on the next 10 to 20 years. What should the energy mix of Pakistan look like in 2040? Should it be all based on solar? Should it be a mix of solar, hydel, some coal, some oil and gas, some nuclear? What should it be? Because that is where we will need to direct our sources. For example, if 10 years from now, oil and gas is not going to be a sustainable business or energy source for Pakistan, then why do we have petroleum and chemical engineering graduates today graduating when we can't offer them jobs 10 years from now? Should we not be transitioning our universities and technologies to the degrees which these engineers will need 10 or 20 years from now, which will be more towards renewables, for example? I did like a lot the discussion that was happening about the child education. I have traveled the globe, and I'm sure many of us have. And one thing which I fully concur with is, while we have talked a lot about the programs in different universities, if you cannot indulge a child at a very early age with these goals, the habits do not set. And if the habits do not set, then the transition in the society cannot happen. So I fully agree that these SDG goals should be part and parcel of our elementary school curriculums, not through a subject which is supposed to be just read, but through actions which the kids participate in. And this becomes part and parcel of their upbringing going forward as well. So I think personally, it has been a very fruitful discussion for us. We, being the oil and gas company, have converted all of our offices to solar. Fair enough. That's an action that we can do. But that does not imply that doing this action will allow us tomorrow to not be operating in an oil and gas environment in Pakistan. What we need to do is to work with the stakeholders like the Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Climate Change, our customers, for example, to understand how we can transition in a very responsible manner and how we can very easily convert our existing resources towards the direction that we need to take. For example, there is a renewable energy conference happening in Pakistan for the first time in November. That's a very good step forward, IREM. And we are presenting, for example, the scope of geothermal energy in Pakistan. And we actually had a lecture by NREL, which is the National Resource Institute of US, yesterday under the NEPRA auspices. So that is good to see that NEPRA is looking at these kind of energy sources as well now, which seem to be very distant just not too long ago. But to do any kind of a possible discussion, the first step, of course, after there is a will, needs to come from the regulators. If you do not define the correct regulation, which promotes access to renewable energy, whether it is through subsidization or whether it is through partnerships, for example, we all know Europe went away from coal, but only after they had other means of energy secured for them, not before that. We all know that the electric cars, which are dominating a number of European countries today, were introduced through very heavy subsidies as well. So you do have to give that economic benefit to a type of change that allows people to push for that change as well. At the end of the day, if a change has an economic cost associated to it, then somebody has to pay that economic cost. Now, I feel that that part of the discussion often goes missing. So in my humble opinion, one of the key roles that SDG can do is to mix or to bridge that gap. We get to hear from people like Kurt and Bill and Jafri Saab and everybody from different frames of work that most probably a number of our regulators don't, most probably a number of our stakeholders don't, right? So this is where the SDG the academy can definitely help to bridge that gap, create some think tanks, which allows us to be sitting and developing a framework which is lasting for the next 2 decades. And this should target things which are very, very simple. What should our kids be learning in the first 5 years of their school? What kind of engineering degrees we need to focus for the next 20 years? Jarvis have mentioned about the robotics and the nurses basically and the treatment of the burns. Absolutely, this is happening, and unfortunately, this is actually happening in very close proximity of our country and other neighboring countries as well. We are way far behind. But one of the reasons when you look at the neighboring countries is that they were able to segregate and develop some institutes of excellence that were directed towards the study of science subjects. And hence, those institutes in the next 20 years were able to develop the researches that today are leading to these kind of breakthroughs, right? So if I want my nurses to be working with robots tomorrow, then before they finish high school, they must know what a robot is. They cannot be learning about a robot when they are actually graduated from a nursing college, right? So this transition has to happen. And I think SDG Academy, I fully believe, has a key role to play here as this bridge between the end goal, the regulators, and the stakeholders. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much for a very, very, let me explain the informative talk, and you are just on the dot. My quick questions to you that globally, and I think Bill will bear me out on that, CSR money is now being spent on SDGs. So when I approach the corporate sector about CSR money, I don't get the required cooperation, I'll be very frank with you, right? So can you suggest any ways and means in which CSR money, I know there's a legal issue. The deputy commissioner of the district makes sure that the CSR money of the organization under his control goes to the some sort of development center. But there are a lot of if and buts into it. So can you guide us? Can you help us in this regard? Because that money is being spent. I know it very well. CSR money is being spent. Yes. And because that will give us a great opportunity. I call it CSR for SDG. So can you comment on that?
No, sir, this is a very valid question, Jafri Saab, and I'm glad you asked it because as you're absolutely right. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, we cannot live in a utopian world. There are certain social norms that we all live in. And yes, whenever you spend the CSR money, you will need to make sure some people look good, and it's okay. At the end of the day, if the money is reaching the right people, whichever channel is reaching through, it's fine. Now, I'll give you one very, very pertinent example. And this, I think, sets the tone very well. Last year, we reached across to some of our customers who drill in the oil and gas areas in Upper Sindh and Upper Balochistan. And if you guys remember, I mean, last year, the same areas which are under many feet of water this year, they were facing drought-like conditions last year. And we have these visuals where the tankers had to be shipped to Balochistan, or if you ever had traveled north of Badin, you would not see anything growing there because there was no rain. I mean, I have a base in Sakhar, and we never had rain in Sakhar, basically, you know, for last 7-8 years, right? So this is where the same areas which are today under feet of water or meters of water, 1 year ago did not even have enough water for people to drink. And we reached across to a number of our customers, the oil and gas companies, and we asked them, today it might be very surprising for many of you to realize that Pakistan produces almost 70,000 barrels per day of oil from our wells, and we produce almost same amount of water. So almost 70,000 barrels of water is produced every day, which goes waste because this water is not treated and it is not made available for the local population. That's another example of where a CSR targeting a particular SDG, which is access to drinkable sources of water, can definitely be applied. Another big example, which is related to the same unfortunate catastrophe. Today, we have large swaths of area in Upper Sindh and Balochistan, and Sindh particularly, under meters of water. And this is the same area, as I mentioned, where there was no water 1 year ago. What do we do with this water today? I mean, the question is all being asked about how to rehabilitate, which is excellent, but we have a lot of water right now standing, which we should be able to look at out-of-the-box solutions like maybe pumping it back underground. And this is something which has been done in our neighboring countries where a number of wells have been drilled, just like tube wells. The principle is the same. It's just that those wells are generally dry and they only are in operation when there is a flood-like situation. So rather than taking the water out from the ground, you actually pass the flood water through some filtration process and then pump it back into the ground to be used for the next few months or years to come, right? So absolutely these things can be done. And I think this is where, as I was mentioning, SDG-17, where the SDG Academy can definitely play the bridge, where we can bring public sector companies, at least like the PPLs and the OGDCs and the MPCLs and the energy sector companies, together with companies like mine, which is the service company, together with the Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Climate Change, and come out with a framework for a project, a pilot project where we can look at treating the produced water, we can look at re-injecting the flood water. But as you rightly pointed out, this is not something which can be done by a single party alone, because it's a multi-party solution. It requires support from the local government. It requires support from the local feudals in many cases, which is a social norm that we cannot just close our eyes towards, but definitely doable. I think the will is there. From my discussions, I've seen the will is there. But as with any of these projects, somebody has to raise the hand and say, I will lead. And I think this is where the SDG Academy under your leadership can definitely be the leader.
Thank you. I request you have a meeting in next coming week. We will coordinate, and definitely your help is very much required. Mr. Bill, have you any question?
Yeah, fantastic. I love what I just heard here. And what it shows me is the importance that we have to think outside the box. We have to think big. Pumping the water back into the ground, such a simple idea, but as it was mentioned, but nobody's doing it. So it's the question here of really going and saying we have to address the problems. As far as the money goes, here, I think one of the major problems is that people are not suggesting projects that are ambitious enough. Too often people come out and say, support me as an organization. Okay, people want to go and invest in things that they believe will achieve results, not just organizations. We see that in Rotary. One of the reasons why Rotary is in so much problem is because people say, join Rotary, join our club, instead of going out and saying, let's accomplish this, let's accomplish that. The other thing here is that too many of the projects here are just more of the same. People are just saying, oh, we want to do it in this location, or we want to do it in that location, but they're the same things that have failed in other situations. We need to truly think outside the box. Think of Google. Google X goes out and says, you know, whatever you think as a goal, multiply it by 10. You need to get the goal so high that no current solutions will work. That will force people to think outside the box and potentially come up with breakthrough ideas. And we need here to pull together. When I mentioned that idea of getting a team on the ground in Pakistan, it has to be a team that is not going out there and saying, well, gee, what could we do? But focused on what's needed, even if you have no idea how to do it. You can't hit what you don't aim for. And so we have to go and aim for what's needed. And I think if you do that, you can put forward proposals that you will get a lot of people supporting, because if you achieve them, it's worthwhile. Michelangelo said the problem for most people is not that they aim too high and fail, but they aim too low and succeed. We need to aim as high as needed and then get people here committed to finding solutions. John F. Kennedy, when he announced that the US would put a man on the moon in 10 years, people forget 3 sentences later, he says, we don't yet know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it anyway. You need a team in Pakistan that says, we may not know how we're going to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. And if you do that, you can capture the excitement and the imagination of people and come up with really breakthrough ideas that'll excite the entire country. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. There are all 3 types of people. One is who makes things happen, like you said, will do it. The second category is who see things happen. They just see and appreciate. There's one more category. What has happened? So I think we'll have to be away from the people who said what has happened. We must focus on people who believe in doing something. And I'm sure with the cooperation of the people, very meaningful people sitting in the room, I think we can do it. Azhar Ayyub साहब आपको बात करना चाह रहे हैं गालिबन Azhar Ayyub साहब Azhar Ayyub साहब आपको बात करना चाह रहे हैं
अस्सलाम वालेकुम अज़हर अय्यूब
जी जी
देखिए मैं काफी देर से देख रहा हूँ सुन रहा हूँ लोगों को बहुत सी चीजें बात डिस्कस लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स लेकिन द ओनली थिंग इज दिस मैं पहले भी मैंने उस मीटिंग में भी आपसे कहा था कि we have said that we have not set up any goal. We say a lot of goals, but even a small goal we have not set up. My only thing is this: if in every Sunday we talk about a lot of things, but we have not set up any one goal. Suppose one thing that today this forum is decided that after 1 month this thing will be done for even a small thing. Set a small goal, set a small target, and then we can succeed that. And then we small set up, then we can go for the big and the big and the big. But unfortunately, we have not done any practical things. We only talk about many things, and it's very good, but we need some practical solutions, even for a small problems, even for the small water, even for the small education, even for the small light. But we have not set up the goals that this place, like suppose in some areas of Sindh, that we should provide water or should provide education from after 3 months or 2 months, that this school or that will be started, and after 1 month that education has been given to such and people. But until now I have not seen any things. Let me talk about my SDG-7 about solar, that you have not done anything, but I have already sold or given donation for 300 LED lights for flood victims. Even that before I have proposed many solar lights, very small cost, but nothing has been done. Even for the education, I have seen that I have asked the people that SDG Academy is giving the very good list of the courses, but when I have the fees, they say nothing has been. At least we should put some goals that in 3 months these courses has been done by these many peoples. So we have to work hard for,
Thank you.
for it.
Thank you,
to
Azhar साहब,
at
बहुत
least get
शुक्रिया.
some small goals.
अच्छा,
Thank you.
बहुत शुक्रिया साहब आपका. ये ऐसा नहीं है, बहुत काम शुरू हो चुका है. आपकी अपनी एक मिसाल है, आपने सोलर बनाए, लोगों को दिए, अवेयरनेस आई लोगों के अंदर. ये जो हमारा फोरम है, ये कोई बिजनेस फोरम नहीं है कि हम कहेंगे हमने ये करना है, लोगों ने करना है. पहली बात तो ये है. मैं आपको एक अच्छी मिसाल दूंगा, जैसे प्लांट्स फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी, उस पर काम बहुत तेजी शुरू हो चुका है. इसके अलावा जो होम फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी, उस पर काम शुरू हो चुका है. ये यूनिवर्सिटी में डॉक्टर साहब ने बात की, ये शुरू हो चुके हैं. ये जो हमारे सेशन होते हैं ना, संडे के संडे जो हम बात करते हैं, ये आइडियाज के सेशन होते हैं. यहाँ से लोग आइडियाज लेते हैं, एक दूसरे नेटवर्किंग करते हैं, और फिर वो बिजनेस मॉडल में जाते हैं. मैं आखिर में आप सब लोगों का शुक्रिया अदा करूंगा. टाइम भी हो चुका है इसका, और मैं अपने मेंटोर नवीद जफर साहब, अगर उनको मेरी आवाज आ रही है तो नवीद साहब अगर आपको एक कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क दे सके इसके ऊपर, तो नवीद जफर साहब.
सर थैंक यू वंस अगेन. और आज की सेशन बड़ा अच्छा रहा. और एक वन थिंग इज एविडेंट दैट व्हेन देयर इज अ विल देयर इज अ वन वे, बट व्हेन देयर इज अ गुड विल देयर आर मेनी मोर वेज. At least realization has started, and different people coming from different walks of life, they are at least sharing. And this is definitely, as you have pointed out, is not a business forum. It is something that we must synergize as much as we can, because business has different meanings and different connotation. At least one must acknowledge that a process has been triggered, and it is a sort of irreversible process. And how far it can go and who can take the lead in this. Everything, when we talk of academy is not supposed to run businesses. Academy is just to provide the training if needed, and providing the awareness amongst the people that this is what is needed and this is what needs to be done. So not denying this fact, we must go for the practical means also, but that is going to be a combination of everyone who is coming to this forum, so they can start and they can deliver some goods, in whatever way and whatever field they like to. Because everybody cannot be a designer and as a manufacturer at the same time. We often tend to do all the things that from one point, and if that point fails, then everything goes for a six. So what we need to do is that we must collaborate, and collaboration is the best way. And synergizing our energy, we can energize ourselves. Thank you very much, sir.
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका नवीद साहब. मियाँ अब्दुल साहब कुछ रशीद आपको फरमाना चाह रहे हैं. मियाँ अब्दुल रशीद साहब.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
जी वालेकुम जी.
Sir, I do agree with all the speakers, honorable speakers, particularly Professor Dr. Asif Naveed Ranja, who has spoken well while aligning the ideas of Mr. Bill. He's excellent. He has devised certain solutions in a focused way. As Professor Dr. Asif Naveed Ranja said that we have developed engineering departments and all the relevant departments in almost every university in public and private sector. But we need to create and accelerate need assessment models. We need to devise solution-oriented, impact-oriented projects. Long awaited, we have discussed many things by the grace of Almighty Allah. All are tangible, all are workable, all are doable. It doesn't matter at all to be pessimistic enough to say all the things are, waste of time. Not at all. It doesn't mean that, as I have cultivated so many ideas, we are in the dire need to make a platform with the focused vision of working groups to devise the solutions in a tangible way. And we are in the dire need for solution-oriented, impact-oriented, demand-driven projects. And we are in the dire need. I am repeating the words dire need, as it is really the dire need, what I am talking about. Honorable Dr. Professor Naveed Ranja is here. He can lead this project
I suggest, I request Honorable Doctor to lead this project to create awareness among the youth in particular.
Yes,
According
sure,
to their,
sure.
according to under the patronization of Honorable Dr. Amar Jafri, you know, he is a very great personality. You know, he has developed something. You know, he has spent his beautiful life. He is doing something for future generations in particular, and I salute his ideas. I salute his mentorship. I salute his wisdom. Sir, kindly devise a platform, kindly get it registered with the government of Pakistan, then try to, we don't need to knock the industrialists for CSR only. There are millions of people in Pakistan who can donate upon your credibility, because you are a credible source, you are a credible personality, you have created so many followers in Pakistan by the dint of your philanthropic spirit and your professional integrity. I do support you. I do support you as the chairman Pakistan Task Force Pakistan Agriculture Scientist Forum. Every scientist would be sitting in front of you in a decent way and would love to follow you, would love to be accompanied by you to create a solution of a certain problem, not to talk about so many ideas like that. We would love, there are so many ideas here, and there are so many people are here who can pick the idea, according to their qualifications, according to their priorities. But I at this forum would love to request to Professor Dr. Asif Naveed Ranja and Mr. Bill Graham, who has clearly pasted a slogan, "Dare to be great." I have dared to be great today, sir. Honorable Mr. Graham, I would love to be with you, and I would love to follow you from primary school system. So kindly, sir, devise a project. I would love to support you. By the grace of Almighty Allah, I have developed my area of people, my circle of influence, where I have been a motivation speaker. I have delivered more than 1,000 lectures in the universities on entrepreneurial uplift for the students in particular who have been blessed with the degrees, but they are sauntering aimlessly in the pitch darkness of pessimism, and they say, "Oh, what is life? Where to move?" They are just only slogans of sluggish, you know. If someone has decided to uplift his career, there is no blockage, there is no blockade, there is no stumbling block here. Even at this age, Mr. Amar Jafri is so energetic, so passionate. It is the best example. In the same way, you know, Mr. Bill Graham, who has written "Dare to be Great." If at this age he has said "Dare to be great," why don't we follow you, sir? I do love, and in the last, I would love to align the vision of Mr. Zuriyazi, who has also said very well, who has optimized me as well, and who has created and who has devised certain solutions. Sir, let us come with solutions in the next meeting, inshallah, by the grace of Almighty Allah. And I pray all the senior citizens for a better, for a healthier, for a longer, for a prosperous, and for a beautiful lifespan, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका साहब, बहुत शुक्रिया। मैं सिर्फ ये कहना चाहूँगा, इंशाल्लाह ग्रुप हमारा ऑलरेडी बना हुआ है और राब्ता कर लेंगे ड्यूरिंग दिस वीक, और ग्रुप के अंदर जो हमारा स्पीकर का ग्रुप बना हुआ है इसका SDG संडे की मीटिंग का, और मैं चूंकि अभी टाइम खत्म हो चुका है तो मैं आपको ग्रुप में शेयर करूंगा। आज से 4 माह पहले मैंने एक प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया था, प्लांट्स फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी। आपको सुन के खुशी होगी कि उस पर काम शुरू हो चुका है। मेरी कोई आबाई जमीन थी झंग के इलाके में, वो मैंने उसको डेडिकेट कर दिया प्लांट फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी को। उसके ऊपर तकरीबन 50,000 प्लांट लग चुके हैं, मोरिंगा के हैं, डिफरेंट और चीज़ों के हैं। वो लंबी गुफ्तगू हो जाएगी। मैं अगली, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि हमें किसी प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करना चाहिए। आप ज़राअत पे काम कर रहे हैं, प्लीज़ मैं आपसे रब्ता कर लूँगा। कल सुबह की आप वेबिनार में आ जाएंगे, जो रोज़ मॉर्निंग में करते हैं 8 बजे। मैं डिटेल्स शो कर लूँगा आपसे। आप सब लोगों का बहुत शुक्रिया। मैं बहुत मशकूर हूँ आप सब लोगों का, आपने जो कुछ आज फरमाया उस पर आने वाले हफ्ते के अंदर हम स्पेशली राज साहब, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आप मुझे रब्ता कर लें या मुझे अपना नंबर भेज दें, मैं फिर रब्ता कर लूंगा। और जो आपने बात फरमाई है, हम CSR SDGs के ऊपर काम करेंगे। मैं समझता हूँ अगर हमने अभी कराची में मेरी मुलाकात हुई है नेपरा के चीफ से, एंड ही वाज वेरी काइंड। वो उन्होंने दूसरी वो एक्चुअली मेरे से बात कर रहे थे सर्ट के ऊपर, क्योंकि वो चूंकि रेगुलेटर भी हैं आपकी पावर सेक्टर के, तो उनको अब पता है कि अब ये अटैक्स जो है ये आ रहे हैं इसके ऊपर, पावर सेक्टर पे आएंगे साइबर अटैक्स। तो वो एक कानून पास हुआ है, उसके तहत वो चूंकि अब तमाम पावर सेक्टर की सर्ट बनवाएंगे। मैं आपसे भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, और वो हम हर एक को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं सर्ट बनाने के अंदर, उस पर भी बात कर लेंगे आपके साथ। आपका बहुत शुक्रिया। बिल ग्रैम, टाइम इज फिनिश्ड, बट again like always I can give the last 2 minutes. So over to you, Bill, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say I am so thrilled about today's session because so many people have called for action. We've had so many ideas presented, and we've talked about so many things here over months now, over years. But I think here there's really a sense, let's do something. Let's make a difference. And this has me really so excited. I mentioned in the chat here this Read for a Better World initiative that we're hoping to get the UN behind here shortly, to mobilize more than half of all primary and secondary school students in the entire world. The interesting thing most people don't realize is the first country where we had actually somebody go and present that to a minister of education was Pakistan. And at the time, unfortunately, I think here there's been a change in some of the government officials. But at that time here, this is several years ago before COVID, that the Minister of Education that was discussed with at the time said Pakistan would want to be the first country that would actually call on every student in Pakistan to participate, and anticipated more than 30 million students in Pakistan would participate. And this is one of the reasons why I find Pakistan a very interesting country. I wasn't part of that discussion at that time, but the fact that Pakistan reacted that way, I found very encouraging. And I think here now's the time, if we can get, for example, your prime minister or your ministers of education, just simply to announce the intention to make Pakistan a world leader in education, that could create an excitement and then inspire so many people in your population to say, yeah, let's do that. Let's make Pakistan a world leader. And that could be the engine, the momentum that could drive the entire development to move Pakistan in so many areas, in economics and other areas, to become a fully developed country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you all for your understanding and support. Thank you. Looking forward to see you all on next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.